Hey y'all, this is Travis with Hoss Tools, and this is a little segment we do called Garden Goodies. It's just a compilation of short videos that we shoot on our phone throughout the week as we're walking through the gardens, harvesting things, weeding, doing whatever we have to do to maintain a vegetable garden so we can grow our own food. I really hope you enjoy it, and if you have any questions, always put those in the comments below and we'll try to answer them for you.
Today's harvest time. We're gathering our Cherokee Tan pumpkins. We're gathering a seed crop, but regardless whether you're gathering a seed crop or gathering to eat, the harvesting will be pretty much the same. And I want to go over with you when you know it's time to harvest these. Now these Cherokee pumpkins are in the muscadine family, and the muscadine family includes most of the pie pumpkins. Now to know when they're ready to harvest, your vines will start dying back, such as this right here. Been about 110 days, so we know that's the days to maturity. We know it's getting about right. Our vines are dying back, but our skin on our pumpkins is nice and tan, and they're really hard. You can barely take your fingernail and scrape them. And also you can tell the stem is starting to get kind of tough. Now when we get ready to harvest them, what we do, Aldo, let me borrow these clippers. We use a clipper, and it's important to use a clipper because you want to leave about an inch, inch and a half to 2 inches of stem there, and that helps them keep a lot better than if you cut them off even. I stepped on this one. This is exactly what you don't want to do. So you want to cut those stems like that right there. Now these need to cure, the pumpkins in the muscadine family need to cure about 4 to 6 weeks, but they last a long time. These babies here can store up to 6 months. And I'll give you an idea here. This is probably one of the biggest ones I have. These things range anywhere from 5 pound to 10 pound. That's a nice one there. Now some of the ones I picked, if they had good foliage on top of them, still had some green on them, but that's okay. The sun's what turns them brown. So if they didn't have any vine and the sun was hitting them pretty hard, then they would turn a nice brown color like this. But we had a few. They had some nice vine, and they still had some green on, but that's okay. They're still ready to harvest. So there you have it. Pie pumpkins, muscadine family. It's probably the best stored pumpkin they are out there, and they are the most disease and insect resistant. Vine borers like this family of pumpkins the least. So these are probably the easiest ones to grow out of the pumpkin family.
It's raining outside today, so I figured I'd do a little short video here for my row by row set. If you've never watched our row by row show, it airs every Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern on our YouTube page and on our Facebook page. Make sure you check that out. Me and Greg are usually sitting here showing some nice things we harvest from our garden and just talking about gardening in general. And one of the big questions we've been getting a lot lately, as a lot of people are starting to think about fall gardening, is do I still have time to grow X? You know, whether it be sunflowers or all kind of different crops. And I want to just talk to you today and tell you an easy way to tell if you still have time to grow a certain crop. Now, fall gardening, you know, is a little more variable than spring gardening when it comes to maturity dates, because it's a lot hotter now than it is in early spring. So things tend to mature a little faster than the listed maturity date, as opposed to spring when things are pretty true to maturity date. So I'm going to give you an example of a few things we like to grow in the fall around here in South Georgia in Zone 8B. One of those being sunflowers. We always like to plant a fall crop of pole beans. Those do really well in the fall for us. Cabbage, of course. We grow lots of cool weather or cold crops, cabbage being one of those, and grow a lot of broccoli and cauliflower. This graffiti or purple cauliflower is a great one. So how do you tell if you still have time to plant these? Well, first thing you need to know is your average first frost date. Now, this can vary from year to year, but you can look up online for your zone, whether it be 8B like we are down here, 8A, 7B, 7A. You can look up what your average first frost date is. And for us, that's November 30th, although sometimes we don't get a frost till, January. But going by the average first frost date, November 30th, we can look at the maturity date on these seed packets here. For example, these pole beans says 55 days. And we can count back from November 30th to 55 days and see if we have time to get a crop in. With sunflowers, it's 60 days, so we can count back from November 30th, 60 days until, and we got plenty of time to plant more sunflowers. So know what your average last frost date is. Take the maturity date on the packet, count backwards. That will let you know if you still have time to grow some of these great fall crops here. Like I said, because you're growing them, you're planting them on the end of summer, the maturity date is going to be a little faster than what's listed on here, so you can, you can do some trials there. You'll be able to get it in a little quicker because we are a lot warmer than we usually are in the spring. So hope that tip helps out there, and hope everybody has a great fall garden this year. In just another week or two, it'll be August here, well, everywhere, but here in South Georgia. Not only does that mean just blazing hot temperatures, but it means our muscadines will be ready. And man, these things are an awesome summer treat. I just like to stand out here for about 30 minutes or so and just get me a belly full of these things right off the vine. These things grow wild here in South Georgia, but almost every backyard here in the country has them a muscadine vine. And these were here when we moved to this place. So I don't know how long they've been here, but I keep them trimmed every year. These vines are probably about 100 foot long or so. Several different varieties here. Show you what we're working with. So you can see they're loading up there, some clusters. Now this variety here is a purple variety. So those right there will need to turn purple before they're ready to eat. And let's see if I can find some down here. There's one right there. Well, where is it? Right there. So that one there is getting pretty close. You can feel of it and tell it's not quite soft enough, but getting close to being ready. There's actually about 4 different varieties along this vine. Like I said, I didn't plant these, so I don't know what they are, but they're all good. So we got those big purple ones. We also got these little bronze ones here. That one there, it's got a little juice dripping off it. It's probably ready to eat. So we got those bronze ones there that are about quarter size. We come on down here, we've got some smaller purple ones. Some of those look ready almost. Those are really good. Those are probably my favorite. So those are about the size of a nickel. The other ones, those big ones, are about the size of a quarter. And I'll show you the one other variety we've got down here, if I can find them. Here we go. Now these aren't as good to eat because they're just smaller and you got to eat a lot of them, but these are really good for making wine and jellies and stuff. So you see these tiny ones here. This is a bronze variety, but they don't get very big, but they grow in these massive clusters like this. And you can just get your picking bucket and stick it underneath there and rake them off in there and have you a big old bucket full before you know it. These are usually the last to get ready. The purple ones and the bronze ones, the bigger ones, seem to get ready first, and then these are always the last ones to come along. But won't be long on all these. It'll be muscadine time here in South Georgia. So in yesterday's video I showed you our muscadine vine there. Today I want to show you what we got going on as far as figs. A few of our trees that are producing now. So this puppy right here is massive. This is an old brown turkey tree. It was here before we moved here. No telling how old this tree is. And it puts on a ton of figs every year. It's always the first to produce. They're about done now. We've already got what we wanted. And let me reach up here and grab this one. Already got what we wanted. We just pick the ones we can reach. We let the birds have the ones at the top there. I ain't getting on a ladder to pick figs when there's plenty of them I can reach here. But these produce first. They're kind of a one and done deal, kind of like a determinate tomato. And I'll show you what one looks like here. Crack that open. Nice, pretty inside. That one could probably go a few more days. But nice, tasty fig. Nothing wrong with a brown turkey. It's not my favorite, but we got this tree here and it produces loads of them, so we always take advantage of that. Let's walk over here and see these 4 trees here. These are trees I planted last year, and some of them look a little pitiful. I haven't been as diligent about watering them as I should. I just started really watering them a lot more the last few days here, trying to get them to come back a little bit. So we've got this one here, which is LSU purple, and I think I ate all those yesterday. I don't have any of those that are ready yet, but that's a really good tasting variety. Swing around here, this taller one here is an LSU gold. Some of these are ready to eat. These make real big figs. Let's see here, open one of those up, and they have kind of a lighter color inside. Nice sweet flavor to those right there. That's one of my favorites. And me and Titus, my little boy, we'll just sit out here and eat these things right off the vine. So that's an LSU gold there. And then probably my favorite out of all the ones I have planted are these 2 trees here, this one and this one, which is a variety called Black Malta. See if I can find one that's ready. And these just have an awesome kind of berry flavor to them. I don't know if that one's quite ripe yet. Let's see. You can see the inside of them there. Look at the color on that. Those are just absolutely delicious. Like I said, it's kind of got a berry / citrusy flavor to it, and definitely my favorite variety of all the ones I've planted so far. I got about, way back over there, about 30 more trees planted, all different varieties. They're just planted those this year, so they're not producing yet. Should get a few figs off of them this year, but these 2nd year trees here are making some figs. Not enough to really put up or anything, but enough to come out here and get a good snack. We use that brown turkey over there, you can see it there, as the one for our main production currently, to make jelly and stuff. But if you're not growing figs, man, you're missing out. There's so many different varieties, so many different flavor profiles, and we just love them around here. I wanted to give y'all an update on our sweet potato patch. Now, if you watch a lot of our videos, you know down here where we are, South Georgia Zone 8B, there's not a whole lot we can grow this time of year really well. Okra and sweet potatoes being 2 of those things. And this patch here is doing what sweet potatoes are supposed to do. I always say that sweet potatoes double great as a cover crop, just because you just get all that ground coverage right there. Can't a weed germinate or fight up through that stuff. And just happy with how everything is filled in. We planted these rows 3 feet apart, and we did hill them one time. We did a YouTube video showing how we hilled them with our high arch wheel hoe. But man, these Georgia Jets have filled in nicely, and I'm liking what I'm seeing right here. We do have these on drip, been keeping them watered. Might have to come in here so they're kind of creeping up on our giant sunflowers. I don't really want them climbing all over those things, so I'll probably come in here with my cultivator, wheel hoe, or tiller or something, and just kind of trim off the edge of that line there that's creeping towards those sunflowers. And that doesn't bother the plants at all. You can do that on the edges, won't hurt anything at all. One thing I have noticed, so if you've been following along, you know, we're given some of these purple sweet potatoes, and that's what you really can't see a distinction, but first 10 foot or so on that run of drip line there are these purple sweet potatoes. And one interesting thing I've noticed, now they all look good now, is that these purple ones aren't near as heat tolerant as these Georgia Jets here. And like yesterday, I come out here, all the Georgia Jets look great. These right here were wilting back, looking like they needed some water ASAP. So that's been interesting to note, is the difference in heat tolerance between the purple ones and the Georgia Jets. Of course, you know, the name Georgia Jet would tell you that it's going to do good down here in Georgia, and we've grown it, you know, before. We know how heat tolerant it is. But I would say these purple ones here are a little bit more needy, and have to take care of them a little bit more. If you've grown purple sweet potatoes beside other orange varieties before and seen this, let me know. This is kind of curious to me. I didn't realize there was so much or there was any variation between sweet potatoes on heat tolerance or anything, but definitely seeing some here in this patch. So we've got almost everything pulled up in the garden as far as, you know, spring warm season stuff goes, except for this right here. This was our third succession planting of squash, summer squash, and cucumbers right here. And considering what we've been dealing with as far as just heat, humidity, dry weather, these things are kicking along just okay, or better than okay, pretty dang good actually. So this right here is our Alexandria Lebanese squash, and the leaves and everything look like a zucchini. The fruits kind of look like a zucchini, and man, these plants are looking really good considering what's going on. I haven't noticed any real strong signs of diseases yet. That could change any day now, but everything's kicking along good, and we just made our first little harvest here. Show you what these guys look like. Now I picked these on kind of the small side just because they started making and I want to give them a try, but it's like a light green kind of round zucchini, and I've never grown these before, so I don't know what the kind of optimal size, that one there's a little bigger, what the optimal size for picking these is. So we'll just have to experiment and play with it, but hopefully we can get some decent harvest before the pickle worms get too bad as they are this time of year. But plants are good, loaded up with blooms. The bees have been in here working these pretty hard this morning, so everything's a nice success with this Alexandria squash so far. And over here we got our Olympus cucumbers, which I have grown these several years ago. Very disease resistant variety of slicing cucumbers, and as you can see, they're starting to climb that Hortonova trellis, starting to get on up there. If we can keep them plants off the ground this time of year, that's always a good thing. We are starting to get a few blooms in here. I don't know if I can find one right now. Maybe I can. Let's see. Look in there. Starting to get a few blooms on these guys. So this is a gynoecious variety. It's going to produce all female blooms, and then the pollinizers mixed in there that's going to give it the male blooms. But we should, considering how good these plants look, we should be able to get a few decent late slicing cucumber crops off these guys right here. I know from experience, once these guys start making, they will make and make and make. So hopefully they hold on in this summer heat, and we can get some late vegetable harvests from these guys and those Alexandria squash over there. Now with winter squash, like you see here, there are several different ways we can tell when these guys are getting ready. The first sign we can usually see is that the plants start to die back, and on one of these short videos I did, you know, a month or so ago, we were starting to see that the plants were dying back, and I was thinking, okay, we're getting close to harvest time, because this is kind of a one-time harvest crop. You know, we wait till the plants die back and we come in here and just get them all at one time. So this is our South Anna butternut, and then we've got some acorn squash here on the edge. But crazy thing is, so these things were looking like they were going to die back a few weeks ago, and it's like they caught a second wind. I mean, the vigor of this South Anna butternut squash is absolutely amazing. They just kind of started back producing more foliage, a lot more green in there, and they almost look nice and healthy again. But I know we're coming right up on that 100-day window where these things should be ready, so I guess I'm gonna just have to trounce around through here and find them all. I can't just leave them here forever. Some of these squash down here are ready to pick. See, some of these things are huge. Check out that butternut right there. That thing's dang near 2 feet long. And the skins are hardened on these guys. Let me see if I can find another one right here. Skins are hardened. We can feel that. We scratch it with our fingernail. That stem's hardened. So I got a lot of squash in there that's ready. So I don't think I'm gonna be able to wait on these plants to die back, because I just don't believe they're gonna die back. They just keep growing and growing and growing. That Seminole pumpkin that's bred into them just gives them some amazing, amazing vigor. And if you were looking at planting a fall winter squash crop, I think this would be a great one, because it can handle some of the insect pressure, the humidity, and all the elements of late summer. So we're probably not going to be able to wait on these to die all back. We're probably going to have to come in here and get all these pretty soon. Just can't believe these things catching a second wind like this. So if you haven't tried this variety here and you live in a hot and humid climate, this is definitely one to grow here. Amazing.